And the the trucks and other things that transported tea would stand outside waiting for a long time. And perhaps they will spend half a day, almost whole day. But when the machine was developed to pack packets of tea, the workers who used to stand along the huge tables were replaced by the machine. And the machines were welcomed because they were fast. The trucks and wagons that were taking tea away were moving faster. Less than an hour, the truck was full. So there were two important things here: the development and the efficiency of the means of packing, etc., which was welcomed particularly by those who do business. It was quick to deliver, etc. But the other side of it is that the workers who were working and earning wages had to lose the jobs. Whilst others were happy, others had nothing to put on the table. It was a serious challenge for the trade unions. This was many years ago. I'm sure very few were born. If I look around, I could identify just a few. Some of them, even their parents were not yet married. They had not discovered each other. The time has moved. Time has moved. It's no longer mechanization. At some point, people are talking about computerization of the economy. They've even moved a step further, if I'm correct. IT. I'm told you can stay in your flat and do a huge business. This means the challenge, therefore, to the workers is more. It's no longer just packing with your hands, but you have got to have skill, technological skills to catch up with industry. So the demand is huge. The changes are serious. So I just thought I should tell the story. I didn't tell it in this long-winded way. It was very short. I just said, look, I was a worker. I know how to strike. But during our time, we're being groomed to be good trade unionists. We would not call a strike at a drop of a hat, because the strike, we understood, was cutting on both sides. So you had to have very good reasons why you call a strike. And a strike will never be too many days, because you did not want the workers to feel the pain. But that's a different matter. I'm saying this because the acting premier, the MEC, was really giving a report about how the Western Cape has grown in terms of the employment, which is absolutely appreciated, because that is one challenge that we are faced with. A few years ago, we were in Davos, and Professor Schwab's was talking to me about the problem of widening gap between the rich and the poor. And he called it a time bomb. And my point was, what is it that we do to try to close the gap, if that is the case? It's a challenge to business, to governments, even to labor itself. But that's one point. On another very lighter note, more lighter than this one is lighter but it's real. Since I'm in Cape Town, there is a very small thing I always want to say when I'm in Cape Town. And Cape Townians know this, but it doesn't matter. I would say it nevertheless. Just like a pastor, every Sunday, reading Genesis to people who have read the Bible, who have preached about it, but the pastor will still continue because it's important to talk about the Bible. No, the Premier was saying this city is absolutely number one, known worldwide. And that is all known. Cape Town, wherever you are, people say, oh, Cape Town. Oh, Cape Town. Majestic mountain on top called Table. The Cape Point where the two oceans meet. You know, there's everything to describe about Cape Town. Bear in mind, I come from Durban, by the way. They can tell you things about Durban. So this time around, I was in Uganda, in one of the African countries in East Africa. And at a moment, I was not busy. I was looking at this huge lake, Victoria Lake, with some little islands in it, green, mountainous. I was admiring this country. So I couldn't stop. I couldn't just keep quiet. So I say, this country is beautiful. Now there are Ugandans around. This country is beautiful. So one Ugandan says, it is. Do you know why? So I say, I don't know. He says, no, the reason is that when God created the earth, Uganda was the last country to create. So God had more material, the leftovers, in his hands. So he had to play around with it to create this beauty. I said, is that so? He says, oh yes, that's what it is. I said, okay, no wonder. Then that tells the story. He says, oh, of course, yes. That's why we have such a beautiful country. I said, no, thank you very much for the information. I says, okay. So he asked me a question. Do you know where God went after creating this last country? I said, I don't know. He says, of course, he went to stay in Cape Town. So you have, besides anything, the beauty, everything, you stay with God here. You just have to look where he stays. Maybe somewhere in the majestic mountain, in some rocks there, I don't know. Director of the program, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us on this important occasion, the launch of the InvestSA One Stop Shop, Western Cape, for all investors. This important event takes place as we are all celebrating and welcoming the latest report, which shows that our economy grew by 2.5% in the last quarter, and that we are out of the technical recession. It indicates that if we focus on doing what is right, concentrating on supporting the sectors that can help us reignite growth, we will see positive results. I'm sure everyone will remember that when we were declared to be at a technical recession, people remembered what happened at some other point. It takes a year, it might take 2, 3 years before we come out of recession. I think the time has been shorter, if I'm remembering very well, that we have went not to the full, but technical. Now the DG can explain better what is technical recession, DG of the DTI. Yes, more good news in that South Africa fared well in the recent World Economic Forum's Global Competitiveness Index 2016-2017, ranking 47th out of 138 countries. The report shows that South Africa ranked very well in financing through the local equity market, where we ranked first out of 138 countries. The same report shows that we ranked first when measured on the strength of auditing and reporting standards. We are also first on the protection of minority shareholders' interests. Second, of the soundness of our banking system. And third, on the regulation of securities, exchanges, and the efficacy of corporate boards. These positive results are echoed in the Brand South Africa International Perception Survey 2016, which identified a number of strategic areas for improvement by government in its investment promotion, facilitation, and aftercare efforts. Several private sector reports also indicate that South Africa remains the preferred investment destination on the African continent. We need to build on these positive attributes of the country. We need to work together as government, business, and organized labor to ensure that we sustain this positive trajectory, creating an environment where the economy can grow and jobs can be created for our people comes first for our government. Our people do not need jobs, they need to be able to put food on the table. Young people need jobs. They are sitting at home with degrees and diplomas. It is for this reason that we are focusing on creating the right environment for investments into the economy from abroad and from within the country. The economy must indeed come first to all of us. It is for this reason that we are establishing the one-stop shops to make it easier for investors to do business in our country, South Africa. For a long time, there have been concerns from the business and investor community that bureaucratic hurdles in the state make investing in South Africa difficult. The launch of InvestSA One Stop Shop for the Western Cape Province this morning is our concrete response as government to these concerns. This launch allows all of us to be able to say, in South Africa, there is a progress in allowing the starting of business to flow easily. This launch also follows on the footsteps of the launch of the National One Stop Shop in March this year. There will be launches in other provinces in due course. The idea of one-stop shop is a simple one. All key regulatory and administrative departments and agencies are housed in a single location to provide an integrated service to investors. This is happening for the first time in our history. The one-stop shops provide a convenient professional service for setting up a business. The one-stop shops are very easy to use for investors. All investors need to do is to make an appointment with the relevant government representative at the one-stop shop to explain the services required, and the government representative provides guidance and support to the investor. From permits to water or electricity services, tax issues, licensing, it should be easy for an investor to get all these services under one roof. Officials at the one-stop shops are trained and briefed to provide such specialist advisory services. They are meant to help potential investors to find all services under one roof. Our intention is to unblock and reduce red tape in government. As I've pointed out, that all services each investor needs are available under the same roof. Key departments such as Home Affairs, Labor, Environmental Affairs, Trade and Industry, and agencies such as Companies and Intellectual Property Commission, SARS, Visa, and Permit Facilitation services are available at the one-stop shop. This is not only a significant improvement from a fragmented service government used to provide before, but it also works. Since the launch of the National One Stop Shop on the 17th March this year, we have seen a significant improvement in the overall investor facilitation and after services. If we continue in this direction, we will continue to see results and achieve the growth rates envisaged in the National Development Plan. The NDP envisages that the combined investment by the private and public sectors rise from the current levels of around 19% of GDP to 30% of GDP by 2030. This endeavor requires a concerted effort from government across the spheres, the private sector, and organized labor. From our part, as government, we have established an interministerial committee on investment comprising of 18 cabinet ministers to oversee our overall investment policy, coordination and alignment, including the investment climate and marketing of South Africa as an investment destination. Government will continue to work hard to improve the investment climate in our country so that we can kickstart the growth of our economy. It is not only foreign investors that we seek to attract to invest into our economy. We also seek to encourage domestic investors to also do the same. Ladies and gentlemen, we are aware as government that investors, both foreign and domestic, as well as other business owners, share concerns about the state of our economy. These concerns include the continued slow economic growth, rising government debt, and poor performance by some state-owned companies and enterprises. We share these concerns. Are our concerns too. And we are taking steps to address them. We are accelerating the implementation of the National Development Plan because we believe that it is the only plan that will lead us to inclusive growth and help us create jobs. Noting the difficult economic conditions we face, I convened a meeting of the economic cluster ministers at the end of June this year to assess the situation and to formulate concrete measures to turn the situation around. I called the meeting to also communicate to the ministers that we need to act with a strong measure of urgency. It is simply not sufficient to say we have the NDP anymore. We need to move faster to implement it. The meeting agreed on clear implementation timelines for the key structural reforms relating to the 9-point plan to reignite economic growth. The 9-point plan priorities action in a number of areas. There is an increased focus on industrialization, mining and beneficiation, agriculture and agro-processing, energy, small, medium, and as well as micro enterprises, attracting investments, growing the ocean's economy and tourism. In addition to this, cross-cutting areas such as science and technology, water and sanitation, infrastructure, transport infrastructure, and broadband rollout have also been prioritized. We also have a specific program focusing on the development of black industrialists as part of promoting radical socio-economic transformation. This initiative aims to expand the industrial base of the country and grow the economy through bringing in the majority of real productive sectors such as manufacturing. The economic cluster has produced measures to add impetus to the 9-point plan. The Minister of Finance, Mr. Malusi Gigaba, has announced some of these measures. Others will be announced when he delivers the mid-term policy statement next month. We should also accept that the challenges that our economy faces do not mean that everything is not working well. Our country is doing well on many fronts, and life is improving for many people on a daily basis as basic services are extended on an ongoing basis. We need to unite as South Africans and put our country first. We have added responsibilities this year as we chair SADC and BRICS. The eyes of the continent and the world are therefore on us, waiting for us to continue doing what we are known for as a nation that can find solutions to even the most difficult of problems. Yesterday, I returned from China, where I, together with several ministers and a South African business delegation, participated at the 9th BRICS Summit in Xiamen, China. This was an important summit in many respects. The BRICS Partnership will be entering its second decade of existence next year. Since its launch, BRICS has made many strides, including the establishment of the new development bank, whose Africa Regional Center we launched a few weeks ago in Johannesburg. The new development bank and BRICS in general offer us an opportunity to engage the world and develop our economy on terms that are fairer and less hostile. The new development bank has started lending money for infrastructure development. All of us will soon notice the benefits of our participation in BRICS. I invite business to engage with BRICS by participating in its institutions and by forming partnerships with their counterparts from BRICS countries. Program Director, the launch of the InvestSA One Stop Shop Western Cape is a significant demonstration of how government can effectively work together at all three spheres. The National One Stop Shop will be linked to and support the provincial One Stop Shops. Before the end of this year, there will be launches of one-stop shops in KwaZulu-Natal and Gauteng. InvestSA will continue supporting the operational functions of the established one-stop shops through effective monitoring and engagements. I urge the investment community to make use of these services and look forward to seeing the positive impact of the one-stop shops to inclusive economic growth across the country. It is through collaboration and alignment of action that we can add to this spirit of progress outlined in the NDP. I also wish to reiterate that we must unite as government, business, and labor and send one message of hope to the country. A lot of good work is being done. The launch of these centers is among the progress that is being made with regards to creating the right investment climate to create jobs. Let me congratulate the DTI, the Western Cape government, and the other stakeholders for getting this project off the ground successfully. The people of the Western Cape need jobs, and this project will help to achieve those goals. Let me also take this opportunity to congratulate the Mayor of Cape Town for the MOU that was signed recently by Cape Town and New York City in the USA, which is aimed at promoting tourism and people-to-people exchanges between Cape Town and New York City. Tourism is one of the key sectors for job creation. We need more and more tourists from all the key markets in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to declare this Western Cape InvestSA One Stop Shop Center officially opened. I thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Let me start by thanking the President for gracing this occasion and also for providing strong, decisive leadership on this issue. Most of us, Mr. President, might not have been there during those days. But one thing that we know about you is that you detest government red tape. He has put all his energies in ensuring that this becomes a success. Thank you very much, Mr. President. Our word of appreciation, I nearly said gratitude, but I thought I must replace. Our word of appreciation to the organizers who spent sleepless nights organizing this event. We'd like to thank the Western Cape government and the City of Cape Town for their collaboration. To all those who have the unshaken belief that South Africa must succeed, we thank you. We thank members of the media for their attendance. Also, we thank members of the diplomatic corps for their solidarity. I would like to thank all of you for being such a wonderful audience. A cocktail has been arranged. I have been advised that immediately after the President has taken leave, there will be a media briefing organized at the second floor. Thank you very much. Good day.
Thank you very much, Deputy Minister. The media press briefing is going to be attended by the Executive Mayor of Cape Town, Patricia de Lille, the Acting Premier, Ellen Windy, as well as the Deputy Minister of Trade and Industry.